Lying in ambush ahead, huh? This is another fairly notorious area in the game. Because it has some friends in it. This is the one other area in the game where the Bonewheel skeleton... That thing just went flying. I guess you're free now, skeleton. So yes, even in the very earliest build of the game, this game had Bonewheel skeletons, which is... it's a decision to make. I'll give it that. You just clip through the world. Oh no, you're still here. I wasn't sure if you were dead or not. I do really want these guys to drop their item, because it's a doozy. This area is kind of, I guess, the best place that you really could fight guys like these, though. Because you get a lot of room to dodge out of the way of their attacks. And if you're careful, you can definitely kite out a few at a time. If you're careful. Oh, I need to make sure that guy dies before the next one comes back for another one. There you are. I think he's the last one left in this room for now. They are clipping pretty aggressively right now. But I think we've taken care of it. Oh yeah, and of course, just because these enemies couldn't be goofy enough, they have Hasek physics on these giant wheels. You can actually really carry one of these with you. Pretty easily, in fact. Yes, I agree. Praise the sun. Oh, there is another one here. In general, the best way to deal with these guys is to taunt them like a matador. I didn't really show them off at the bottom of the catacombs because this area is a bit better for it. They do have surprisingly high stamina. Ooh, I almost made a big mistake there. Whoop. Yeah, that got Havoc physics real hard. This also is very good design, where you saw the item from the very start, but there's even a ray of light to draw you in, and you're kind of drawn to see it in a way that makes sure that you notice this handle here. And this strange contraption here that turns the statue to open the door that was locked beforehand is actually one of my favorite little touches in the area, because you can see with these chains that we didn't just do some sort of stupid video gamey hit this switch and you'll go over to this place kind of things. It shows you that this is actually a literal switch here that turns that statue mechanically. Now granted, the fact that it opened the door is pretty video gamey, but it establishes that going through here brings you directly under the statue in the courtyard, and it solidifies this idea of the painted world as a three-dimensional space. And I really like that. We're in a basement underneath this courtyard here. It's really cool. We get a soul of a brave warrior, and our eyes are also immediately drawn to the world's most obvious fake wall. And we come into a corridor that is a bit evil. So remember how the Bonewheel skeletons were, you know, pretty deal-withable outside when you had a ton of space? Well, let's take that away from you. Happiness. I'm not sure I agree. We have 47,000 souls. You have to be extremely careful in this area. And Interestingly enough, you may have seen that we went past a well last time when we were in the courtyard. You can actually take on these Bonewheel skeletons here first, if you have some major cojones. This is also another obvious hidden wall, but I think I'm going to leave it up for just now, because I'd rather take this rather methodically. There are a lot of different items and paths in this, and I want to make sure that I get all of them. Hello there. I saw you. You're not gonna, like, surprise me or anything. Oh, dear. I maybe should have died there. Let me find some steps up. Okay, yes, I know where this is. We're gonna go there after we examine the rest of these walls. Leave no stone unturned, after all. It is such a ridiculously dense, tightly packed area. I know that there's one of these guys. I fucking know. Yeah, there you go. Come on, come into this way. I don't want to, like, have you roll into an area I haven't been yet. So yeah, the nice thing is our shield can really do or our shield blocks the stamina for a ton of these guys' hits, but you could see him just sort of devouring our health, even with a 95% damage reduction. It does so many shots that could actually do a lot to us. He was guarding the annex key, and as always, I love keys. Key to the annex in the painted world of Ariamis. In the wintry painted world, there's a structure resembling an old cathedral. Its annex serves as a type of storehouse. But of what, I wonder? Over here, we complete the circuit. And yeah, we have now gone through all of the areas of this terrifying corridor filled with Bonewheels. So, let's go with the one path we haven't seen yet. Try attacking. So yes, you'll notice that this hollow doesn't want to attack us. In fact, it seems to be held in a sort of sign of penance. It almost feels bad to do this, but at the same time, one shot will always kill it, and for that, you get the Pyromancy Fire Surge. Let's take a look at that. These are our miracles. There we go. Pyromancy foreign to the Great Swamp. Create a surge of flame from palm of hand. Not all pyromancy originates in the Great Swamp. One hears rumors of unknown pyromancers inhabiting various lands, and this spell is the work of one such outlander. Once again, reinforcing this idea of otherness that these things contain. This idea that everything in this area in some way transgresses norms. And apparently this pyromancer was possibly hunted down and thrown into this painted world. Oh god, they all found me. Oh, this is not good. Ah! There you go. You get 500 souls a pop for these guys, and there's certain things that you can do to make them much easier to deal with. Let's see. Let's pop over this way. Right, this is the area that we went to earlier that led into the basement. I know what I'm doing. I'm not getting completely lost. There is only one more area that I really, really need to go to here. And I want to say it's around here somewhere. Well, a few more areas, actually. Yeah, there we go. This is what I wanted most. Because this is actually the door back to the bonfire. Because this level is designed so tightly and so circularly, it gives them a lot of opportunities to put in these kinds of shortcuts here. It's basically the entire first half of the game, but now with a much smaller scale, and I really like that as a proof of concept, and I really like playing through this level. I mean, you'll notice that I've just been talking non-stop about how much I love this area, in complete contrast to Tomb of the Giants. This is one of the areas that feels like it got so much love. And it just feels so fun and interesting to play, you know? Another reason that I came here was to go human again. So there is, in fact, some other content that I want. Whoops. That's not the button I want. There we go. Alright, so we're back at the start. Let's kill off this guy. The nice thing here is that we've opened this path up and we've basically completely changed the way that we fight this dungeon now. Here we actually find a humanity. Nice. Let's see, I don't believe there's anything else around here. I really like the way that this dungeon is designed for you to come into the main entrance over here, but then immediately be drawn up and kind of have to work your way slowly down. Like, you essentially go from the second floor of this entire castle down into the courtyard on the first floor, and then down into the basement to get to the final area. It's designed in almost like a reverse mountain climb way. I don't know exactly what I mean there, but it's designed in such a way that I really like the path that it draws you upon, and I really like that it kind of, there's a lot of verticality in this level where you're going up and down on the hidden paths without really feeling awful and overbearing. Over here, we find the Pyromancy Acid Surge, kind of just hidden in a corner. And it is another Pyromancy foreign to the Great Swamp. So we now have two that appear to have been artifacts from this strange place. Let's see if there's anything else interesting we can find out here. Not that I'd happen to be looking for anything or waiting for something to happen. Beautiful. He missed us entirely. These boxes kind of appear to be mobile prison chambers. They're very tiny with that kind of lock and key, and that chain there even has a handle on the end of it. And it's interesting, because we've seen several of them kind of just lying along in the area here. You very much get the impression that this is how they got people, forced them into this area. There we go. We get invaded by Dark Spirit Jeremiah. You'll notice that rather than being the red of a regular invader, he's more of an orange, and that's a bit strange if you don't know about his gear. Now, Jeremiah uses many of these pyromancies that we've been finding in the area. And it's quite easy to see that perhaps he was the leader of this strange group. For beating him, we get a humanity and a notched whip. I believe we have another whip already. This one causes bleeding, if I remember correctly. Let's see if it says anything interesting. This fight can be quite bad if you allow him any space at all. He'll use huge area of effect pyromancies, and his notched whip can cause you to bleed even if you're in really heavy armor. It's pretty neat, actually. And of course, his head is really strange. We're gonna have to see what's up with that. Whip with sharp spikes. Only slightly effective against armor and tough scales, but quite formidable against enemies with exposed skin. Also causes heavy bleeding. It's a very brutal item, honestly. Very creepy that someone would even use something like that. With that, we have... yeah, there we go. There are some more of these treasure chest or prison chamber kind of things. But let's pop over here and see what's in this annex. Behind this pulpit. Now, this is, as it said, this did appear to be a cathedral, but it never really says what god or goddess they might have been praying to. This is a really well-framed shot. You come through this doorway and see that hollow kind of approaching you immediately. There we go. I'd show off these guys, like, exploding and poisoning you, but honestly, I don't really feel like getting toxic and just having to run back to the bonfire. Oh dear. I heard that screech. Oh dear. Let's lure them over here. Remember, when they go for a jump attack, the worst thing that you can possibly do is try to run after, or is try to run away from them. That's honestly the one thing that has gotten me grabbed and killed more than anything else against these enemies. Oof. Oh shit. Whew! Thank God I was the faster one there. Yep, now we're stuck on it. The crows make some really, or the crow people make some really kind of gross noises. Yeah, like that. Now, I am actually not going to run up and fight that guy on open ground. And not just because I might be able to do that. Let's see. Okay, over here we are actually on a slightly higher level facing that giant dead dragon over there. And I believe what that means for us is that we can get this. The dark cleric robes, or whatever the hell it just said, including the Mask of Velka. Now, I think there's a crow chasing me, but I don't think it can get to me, so let's take a chance on that. So, this... let's see. Yeah, black cleric robe. Robe worn by the partners serving Velka, the goddess of sin. The partner's attire is uniformly black in color, and said to be imbued with Velka's mystical power, which provides resistance against all manner of magic. And now we see another group that was definitely ostracized into this particular painted world. Velka. The crows are, of course, symbols of Velka, and behind that church, we actually find a lot of, I guess, paraphernalia of Velka. Oh, and the mask is a different thing that I've been meaning to read. The partners listen to the confessions of sinners, urging reflection and salvation. Their masks symbolize separation from worldly desires, which is sort of interesting given how golden and ornate those masks are. So yeah, Oswald of Kareem also wears this. I agree. Gorgeous view. Kind of a nice connection. This fall will almost certainly kill you. Yes, be wary of lying in ambush. And the reason for that is that, once again, these birds will fucking attack you for this. I think these might be the same ones, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna try to... Yeah, lure him into doing that. That worked so much better than it should have. The nice thing is they bounce off our giant shield here, so when they go in for swipes like this, well, often I guess they'll miss, but we can kind of bounce them off of us. There we go. Ugh. Get off. Get away from there. Those things have such disturbing body proportions. Over here, where this guy attacked us originally, we see something familiar, actually. A blacksmith surrounded by, I guess, synchronized crows. So it looks like we're going to get another ember out of this, as the game happily confirms for us. Now, what kind of ember, you ask, would be taboo and something that the gods feared and despised? Now, I really want to get this guy to chase me because I happen to know... Jeez, he does not want to... He doesn't want to attack at all. I think actually the trigger for what I think is going to happen might be once I pick up the ember, so... Let's just deal with this guy because he is going to be a pain in our booty hole if we don't. He even had a tiny little anvil. This actually is one of the better setup, like, shop implications of shops. You can clearly tell that there was some attempt by these prisoners to set up a society of sorts, because he has this tiny anvil and kind of just a spattering of tools here. Clearly, this blacksmith tried to go back to what he was good at when he was thrown into the painted world. And I like that implication that they really did try to form a sort of society here. For our troubles, we get the Dark Ember. And I could have sworn this spawns several crows to attack you, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm still waiting for it. We might be safe. The Dark Ember is an ember required for weapon ascension. The church long hid the forbidden Black Emperor, and no living blacksmith knows of it. Ascends +5 divine weapons to occult weapon. Occult weapon can be reinforced to +5. Occult weapons were used to hunt the gods, and are effective against their followers and kin. So, we finally get the answer to the question, what does the occult club do? This is, I think, the only place in the game where it really tells it to you what it is. And it's a weapon meant to destroy the gods. And the implication of it coming out of the Divine Ember, the Divine Ember +5 can either turn weapons into super divine weapons or into dark weapons, is that this is really a subversion of the gods' power, this Dark Ember. And it further hints that this whole idea of a rebellion actually came out of Gwyn's confidants themselves. Also, this is one of the better hidden things in the game. The item that we saw way earlier with that blacksmith hiding it is behind a breakable door that you can kind of tell there's a path here, and the door itself is quite flimsy looking, but you have to notice it to be able to do it. And for that, we get Velka's Rapier, which is actually an extremely good item, if I remember correctly, but not for our build. A symbolic, powerful thrusting sword, used by the partner serving Velka, Goddess of Sin. This is Oswald's weapon, oddly enough, if you were to attack him, but who would do that? It is no mere symbol of power, or it is no mere symbol, to be sure. The partner is an inhuman swordsman, and wields this enchanted blade with special sword technique. You'll find that it does magic damage along with physical damage, And that it also does dark damage, which on the bottom of the left corner on the right side, I think it's called occult damage. So it will actually do bonus damage to enemies of the gods, basically, or to the gods themselves, actually. It is quite powerful, as it scales with quite heavily with your intelligence, and I believe in a magic build, it is one of the best weapons that you can use if you're kind of side-loading in dexterity. Quite a nice pickup, even if not so much for Leanne with her grody sword here and butcher's knife.